This audio recording is intended to facilitate the gradual release of confidential documents pertaining to a top-secret exchange program where 12 U.S. military personnel went to the planet Serpo, which is located in the Zeta Reticuli star system, between the years 1965 and 1978. Release 25, June 20th, 2007. Examination of the Eben transport craft. Attention, scientists and physicists. This is the Project Serpo posting you've all been breathlessly waiting for. A bombshell worldwide exclusive. A highly detailed description and scientific explanation of the interior of the Eben alien craft from the Roswell crash of July 1947. Compiled and written by the WIDS kids of the Alpha team at the Los Alamos National Laboratory. This will give you the scientific nomenclature you've all been waiting a lifetime for. Do all of you have your eyes-only magic clearance? If not, hit that delete key before proceeding. Begin. Examination of the Eben transport craft. Alpha team research. Number 1. While electric charges cannot be conducted from the charge-accumulating fluid, Sims Kyle, directly through the torrid walls and edges, there will be a capacitive effect which will accumulate charges of an opposite polarity on the outside surfaces which will correspond to the inner ones in intensity and location. This diffuse layer, as it's called by the LNNO Bravo team of electric charges, occurs most effectively when the fluid, E-plasma, is moving, and the faster the E-plasma moves, the more pronounced will be the separation effect of its electric ions from the ions in the differently moving diffused layer outside. 2. In this respect, the charges that accumulate outside in the space around the lower inner edge of the torrid in its diffuse layer that encircles the base disk assembly, terebin, would be negative, and the charges accumulating around the outside of the whole of the outer circumference of the torrid would be positive, the result being much the same as dipolar electrodes, building up between them electrostatic field lines and a potential magnetic field around those lines. 3. Inside the craft, over the top horizontal place of the torrid, which also forms the lower face of the radioplanar guide, Murden, the induced electrical charges react with the torrid's magnetic field so as to form a horizontally rotating field of polarized positive ions. This revolving positive field reacts with the normal air outside of the craft to initiate an inflowing of polarized and neutrally charged air, which, as soon as it passes through the craft's circumferential duct and over the torrid's electrically charged outer edge, becomes positively ionized from the effect of sharp-edge ionization. While the inflowing air passes through the duct, its specially designed curved surface acts as a constrictor to speed up the airflow, thereby creating a low-pressure area outside the duct. A computer-like system controls airflow pressure and the diffusion of the torrid's actuator trim system. 4. The increase in the circumferential duct's peripheral potential correspondingly increases the oppositely charged potential of the fluid on the outside of the torrid. 4. The increase in the circumferential duct's peripheral potential correspondingly increases the oppositely charged potential of the fluid on the outside of the torrid. 5. When the magnetic field begins to resonate, the flux lines will create electrical eddy currents over the underface of the floor surface so that a skin of charged particles will circulate around the surface. The base can be capacitively coupled to the upper outside dome shell of the craft so as to enable the metallic dome to acquire an outside positive charge. The dome itself can be made to store tremendous amounts of electrical energy over its whole surface area, just like a standard capacitor. 6. The central rotating assembly is made up of 4 bipolar sphere sets held equally spaced on a metallic plate. The plate is formed in such a way as to fit inside the perimeter of the inner edge of the torrid, so as to be able to rotate freely with the sphere set, but to also form an electrostatic coupling with the charges on the lower edge of the torrid. This base plate also has a small diameter emission hole at its center. Pico-initiated jets push the airflow through this hole. 7. The base plates, as well as holding the 4 bipoles, also have to impede and constrict the lower magnetic field of the turret so as to direct the flex lines Reno Sabler through, or mainly through, its central hole. This then would not be made of the same construction as the turret shell and would be made of a non-magnetic metal, similar to the magnesium bismuth zinc-like material found in Roswell, number 1, on the lower plates. The base plate material is similar to the Roswell number 1 material, but differs in composition since it contains an aluminum-like substance as the bonding agent. The base plate must contain some bismuth-like material since bismuth does have a sort of quality needed as it does exhibit what is called leg current when pulsed currents are applied to it at a very low frequency, 2 MHz to 8 MHz, and in a strong magnetic field indicating that it has capacitance. Bismuth also has a high atomic mass and, of course, a Hall effect, effects, resistance, or dimagnetism. Note, see moderator's note at end. Either way, non-magnetic material, while not able to prevent all magnetic flux lines from penetrating through it, will convert some of the flux to a rotating electric field, eddy lines, over its surfaces, which will be supplemental to the actions of other charged particles spinning around the large lower sphere by other interactions, and these rotations will coalesce into a flux-constricting force. The base plate metal could also be laminated on its outside with some sort of insulating material that has not yet been found. 8. During recent tests, it was determined that Eben 1 sent out an electronic signature of super high radio frequency electromagnetic pulses. The pulses are in the 3 GHz region of the electromagnetic spectrum at a wavelength of 1 centimeter. Because the waves are so short and their frequency is so high, the normal sort of capacitance-inductance isoscillator with its conductor antennae emission systems can't cope, and so a different sort of electronic technology is needed to radiate these waves out of the craft into the air or space around it. There are various methods of doing this with short millimeter waves, one of which is called the transmission line, yet another is with the parabolic antennas, and still another is with the waveguide. Of these 3, the best suited systems for propagated electric field propulsion is the waveguide, which basically is a rectangular metal tube whereby at one end the microwave power is pumped in and at the other end the delivery of these power waves occurs with almost undiminished intensity. The science of waveguides is quite fascinating and is nothing like cable or conductor type electronics. The size and the very shape of a waveguide computes in an entirely different fashion towards the end result. Microwaves, though, have a very useful range of frequencies. At one particular frequency, 3 GHz for atmospheric air, they can create the spin resonance in the electrons of atoms of the gases in the surrounding air. Electron spin resonance, ESR, raises the normal mode lower energy state, the visual effect of which is an emission of light photons of various colors, the subject of which is already covered in LANO-Z Alpha Report. And more to come. Anonymous. Moderator's notes. Name bismuth, symbol Bi. Atomic weight 208.98038. Density 9.79 GCC or GL. Specific gravity 9.747. Valence 3, 5. Melting point 271.40 degrees Celsius, 520 degrees Fahrenheit. Boiling point 1,564 degrees Celsius, 2,847 degrees Fahrenheit. Bismuth, a hard, brittle, metallic chemical element discovered in 1753 and derives its name from the German Weiss Mask or white mass. It is grayish-white with a tinge of red or pinkish-white that is used chiefly in making alloys of a low melting point and in medicine as well as for fire safety devices. It is a crystalline metallic element that occurs in nature as a free metal and in various ores. Bismuth is the most strongly diamagnetic element and has the highest atomic number of all the stable elements. It is the element most repelled by a magnetic field, and its electrical resistance increases the most in a magnetic field. Like water, it expands upon solidification. Factoid: it is the BIS in Pepto-Bismol. Supplementary information for the Roswell, New Mexico 1947 UFO crash. And that is the end of this video. If you like things like this, please give this video a thumbs up. Please share this video. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I'll have more things like this. Take care.